Hello and welcome, everybody. This is the Daily Dharma. My name is Dina with Impressive Warrior. I want to thank you first and foremost on the way in for spending your time together with me today, sharing your energy. And let's go ahead and get started. Let's take a great big breath together and release anything that's been bothering you, any type of fear, anxiety, or worry that comes with you today. Just to let those energies be given back up to the smoke today, transmuted, uplifted. Also, the sacred violet flame has been stepping forward today, so I'm sure we'll see that card. What I want to start with today is my mixed Tao Te Ching and Art of War deck for a little bit of energy. And I will tell you that any of you who know what I've been up to lately as far as the energy, today I received some messages from my guides to chillax on that for a little bit and to trust whatever is going on. I do think that this is going to be a full moon reading today. And so at the time of the full moon, we're going to have Uranus right on top of the moon in late Taurus. So Uranus will be eventually moving into Gemini very soon here over the next few months. But so it's having its last big hurrah here this year as it's in this very interesting position. We've also got Saturn stationing to go back forward. We've had recently a lot of retrogrades. We've also got Mars will be going retrograde very soon here in December, and Mercury going retrograde here by the end of November. And so we've got a few cards coming out here. I'd like to just get a little more insight from the cards, but I wanted to just, on the astrology, for any of you that don't necessarily follow this, there's going to be a lot of heated debates. That's doesn't take a psychic to predict that one for the coming period if you're watching this during the time of this broadcast. But if you're tuning in later in a timeless fashion, trust that you're here for a reason and there's something here for you. And if it doesn't end up being your reading, don't force it. Check in for other messages and other days and previous content. There's a lot out there to choose from. So the Mars and Mercury is the heated debates. There's going to be a lot of things that need to be coming out into the open. There's a lot of controversy on the world stage, of course. There's a lot of things resolving, and there's a lot of insights coming through the astrology that sometimes words can't even fully put into context, is the way it feels. And this is all part of what we're doing here as a human species, as we're trying to evolve into the age of Aquarius. So we're looking to progress into the time of the future. And yeah, we'll talk about more as it arises coming into the new phase. There's also quite a bit of information about Ceres coming in over the last few days. We had Ceres come up first card out in a recent reading. It was a little bit political. So anyways, I didn't focus a lot on Ceres, but right now it has a lot to do with things such as these resurgence of the 4B movement and feminists retreating and withdrawing, and not just feminists, those that feel that they have in some way been in a situation of imbalance and possibly even bordering on exploitation or greed or toxicity. So for me, even, I've witnessed this happening between myself and another female even, right? Because we all have both genders within us, just as that reminder. And so my beliefs and hers are not always on the same level, but I have a lot of care for this individual. But then I would witness that The energy exchange was not even. The type of compassion was not reciprocal. And that, even for instance, when we were just speaking recently, this person gives me the feeling of that they subconsciously kind of utilize my energy as though I exist only for them to spew their thoughts upon me. And this imagery comes to us by virtue of, my own learning and upgrading experience here in this world. Everything comes to us for a reason, to reassess our own selves. And so even the softest or most challenging messages that come through us, we're always sort of karmically invited. And it sometimes seems obligated, but that's our choice still, to look at how that's our own reflection in the mirror. And so here I am speaking on this platform. And so these are things that we're all looking at. It's not about not standing for your beliefs, it's in how the message is being delivered and so on. So let's see what we have here as we're pushing through this portal, because this Uranian full moon is going to, as I've been being told, that things could flip flop in an instant in different situations. And so, yeah, it's incredible. And I'm just looking down here when I paused to notice that under the deck we have the 0 card on the Tao Te Ching. So let's start there. I do have 3 cards that came out, but let's start with the 0. Let's start at the beginning. Nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water, yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it. The soft overcomes the hard, the gentle overcomes the rigid. Everyone knows this is true, but few can put it into practice. Therefore, the master remains serene in the midst of sorrow. Evil cannot enter his heart because he's given up helping. He is people's greatest help. True words seem paradoxical. Yes, sometimes we need to leave others to their own choices and devices, because to entangle with misuse of power or misunderstanding only keeps our mental headspace in connection, in tandem with that energy. Sun Tzu said, "The clever combatant looks to the effect of combined energy and does not require too much from individuals, hence his ability to pick out the right men and utilize combined energy." So somebody may be picking sides or somehow utilizing their own ability to be resonant and to make their choices going forward. And so they're not asking the individual to change, they're stacking their team with the right individuals to support their own value systems. And we can see this happening on all sides. People are rallying and connecting and consolidating forces around the whole world. And that's part of an operation of duality. But I keep being reminded, and it keeps like poking at me to say, I have been watching just a little bit more on the solar activity, and we are at this huge critical time where you can look back over the previous decades and check out these charts, and every time there's this massive ongoing spike, when it gets to its apex, then you can actually plot out historic events such as revolutionary movements and even things that escalate and become even somewhat non-peaceful. You can track these there. And so right now, knowing these things, we have the, I would suggest, not the invitation, but the obligation to be peaceful about it. And this is where we come into the energy of today's reading, to get back to 0 point, because we cannot keep engaging the enemy and taking oppositional stances and stand in unity. At 10:10, let's keep reading the cards. 36, if you want to shrink something, you must first allow it to expand. If you want to get rid of something, you must first allow it to flourish. If you want to take something, you must first allow it to be given. This is called the subtle perception of the way things are. The soft overcomes the hard. The slow overcomes the fast. Let your workings remain a mystery. Just show people the results. So, isn't that interesting? We're getting these be like water references for those that recognize that. So, Bruce Lee, thank you for showing up to the reading, Essence of Bruce Lee. So, yeah, even though water is so, it has so many things, this came up recently, so many properties. You can see how if it floods, it doesn't do any good. Or if we dump a bucket, it doesn't do any good. But if consistently we drop a drop in one spot on a rock, even the rock will yield. So yeah, if you believe, if you need to allow something to be understood, I think that we're being told that we first have to allow it to tell us about its pain and suffering in one level. Even my voice is kind of like on that one. But also to allow people to show us what they do and do not stand for, what they would choose if given the opportunity. And so this comes through in a couple ways. For instance, I was recently asked by a teenager, not my daughter, what I felt about things like discipline. And it wasn't discipline broadly. It was specifically, I believe, about dress codes, drugs, alcohol, and things of that manner, dating, whatnot. And one of the things that I did express as I was kind of going through all of the things, because as somebody who has tons of Libra, I could talk myself into and out of 100 different scenarios. I can see how the nuance is actually so big. And so the overthinking distracts and creates its own lack of, not lack of alignment, the strong belief. And I think that that has good parts and bad parts from what we're seeing here, that we have to allow it to just be a mystery instead of choosing. We have to choose kind of the unknowing and allow the mystery to show itself to us, at the same time as, giving something enough rope to catch itself on the way out. Prevention is better than the cure. And this can be very important for many of us to recognize in this time, that if you see somebody, I'm going to use a very obvious metaphor for your situation right now. You see everybody's having a great time at this party. Your best friend drank a little bit too much and grabs their car keys and is about to head out the door. What do? Prevention is better than the cure, because the potential, once the drunk gets behind the wheel, could be exponential. You never know how many individuals would thank you for stopping something if they had known how big it could become. We are all, quote, generals in our army of one. Yeah, you got to stand for something or you're going to fall for anything. We are responsible for how we live and relate to others, as thwarting an enemy's plan is better than laying siege to their city. So, looking after your health is better than waiting until you get sick. And managing your budget is better than falling into debt. Be responsible for yourself and for others. So, it's not so easy sometimes because we're getting over here to just let others do as they would and to make their choices, but harm to none. On the backside of that, Sun Tzu said, the highest form of generalship is to balk the enemy's plans. The next best is to prevent the junction of the enemy's forces coming together. The next in order is to attack the enemy's army in the field. And the worst policy of all is to besiege walled cities. What does that sound like? Those who are educated generals and sovereign individuals with lucidity here are not going to be seen trying to besiege any castles because, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Violence doesn't actually create peace, and we've figured this out. And here we are in this larger cycle of this Pluto-Neptunian dance where the 60s, you see the people putting their daisies in the gun barrels. That was the preceding sextile, or excuse me, no, that was the conjunction in the 60s. So it's this movement that comes from the previous sextile, and now we're at the outgoing sextile. And so hopefully many of us have learned how to be strategic, full of integrity, and truth and honor and justice and all of that stuff, and freedom and liberty for all. Can we get to the root of the problem? Let's see. If somebody is unaccountably angry with you, think about why that might be. They might be maintaining deceitful appearances and are angry about something that has nothing to do with you. Gently try to find out what it is, and they may well grab the chance. Your reward and theirs will be getting to the root of the problem so that it can be sorted out. So if you're confused why others are upset with you or so on, or why somebody has a difference of opinion, sometimes discussion can lead to great outcomes and not just, laying siege. So yeah, the highest, the next best, the next, it's like you're being told to look at your own chess game here and look at what is your objective here and what is going to be your plan. Is it to get the most of your chess pieces to the other side of the board? Is it to sacrifice anything in order to wage full-on attack? And looking at yourself in the mirror, which is where we started this whole reading, upon why you feel this anger towards another individual. Again, with the individual I was talking about earlier, myself and this other woman who doesn't have a lot of awareness in our interactions. And this is kind of like, inviting us to talk things out. And it's not always possible with everybody. Sometimes we do have to let them kind of do their thing. So on the backside of this, Sun Tzu said, thus, one who is skillful at keeping the enemy on the move maintains deceitful appearances according to which the enemy will act. He sacrifices something so that the enemy may snatch at it. Yes, in chess. Are there any chess players in the house? Because I only know the basics about it. But being somebody who enjoys learning things critically, there are many moves such as that, giving the rope, Sometimes I have had a lot of help. If let's say, okay, you've got somebody in the game where they're protecting their main player, and then you move one of your pieces in a direct position that they could easily just take you out. But in so doing, they move one of their crucial guards out of the main position, and a pawn can checkmate the king in an instant. So that's the message from the Tao today. I hope that you liked that part. Let's go ahead and move into the code cards because I want to move along and get another deck out yet. Let's see. First coming out, we have Tantric Journey. Tantric Journey is all about the interconnectivity, being that bridge between spirit and matter, integration of both inner polarities, the inner duality. It literally is the looking in the mirror and being able to be curious instead of shaming, blaming, or self-destructing, or shooting yourself in the eye across the... yeah, you get it. So underneath we got romantic love and root chakra. We already talked about get to the root of it. So within ourselves, before we can even move forward in some type of romantic quest or interest here at this time, we're being told to retrace the roots of our own sacred rage at this time, and that is projected and directed back at us. And in this way, we are no longer at war within the self. And that cognitive dissonance that looks out into the world and asks why it's broken says, but maybe it's already fixed. Maybe the imperfect is actually divinely perfect if we could only just trust it and stop resisting. Suddenly we can be able to utilize the system towards the ends that we actually could overcome the issue at hand. Does that make sense for you guys? I hope so. Let's see. We've got 11, belief. Whatever your beliefs are, they are being tested. And I think that with the battles of beliefs, there's the impulse to stand up for what we believe. But sometimes it's not for us to ask that individual to see our point. If they're not going to ask us, then they will never listen to us spew the belief at them. And so then there are those that we can engage with. And if they choose to be curious, then they will actually ask us. And this is how we can invite others to also love themselves in the mirror back when they speak with us. It's by not being at war within ourselves to a certain extent. This is in any duality universe or whatever, incarnation, if you want to limit that. Duality is being at war. And if we can understand that we also resonate with some of the sickness, we can understand how to not just keep battling, but to win the war. Allowance. There's something allowing those individuals that we perceive as broken to do their thing. And instead of fighting them, we reinforce our love, our value, our people in our support systems. We retreat from those battles, perhaps on the larger scale, that are not going to be won, and we re-strategize. And with this whole baiting thing, I do believe that this is how we can sometimes, as like the prosecutors or generals in our lives, to ask the defendant to speak upon things. And as they do, sometimes we will see them speak themselves around to a deeper understanding. And sometimes we will be that one who learns more. So there's a different way for the lover to win this dichotomy instead of fighting against the old ways. We're learning something incredible, and this is where that critical mass happens with the quantum leap. So, divine feminine at the end of the row here. I love that. Allowing our emotions here, because we have like water. So, what is the most resilient aspect of the human dimension is the ability to continue to place your droplet in the bucket that you wish to fill each day, whichever wolf, whichever light or dark force that you see yourself putting your metaphorical drop into is the one that will be less and less weighted. And that same droplet is going to defrag or deconstruct any type of limitation or shell around us, any type of rigid buffer or blindfold happening right now is being broken through by the little baby droplets coming daily, daily, daily. And the ones that are going to win are the droplet is water, it's consciousness, it's love, and it's softness, and the soft overcoming the hard. So it's like two hard heads are just going to, I mean, that's why dinosaurs are extinct, right? And goats, I don't know. We could go on, rams, whatever. Two more. We have 35, perception, 18, cosmic flower. So there is a huge shift here. It's that cosmic flower. There's a reason why the daisy and the gun barrel is an image that persists decades later. And maybe it was naive, but and there's a time and a place for everything, but we're being told on our DNA level to plant seeds of love and unity and understanding in our lives here. We have consciousness, the allowance of consciousness to be the subtlety that breaks through the subliminal airwaves and allows people to come to their own awakening as they are ready. And 41, synergy. Synergy under the divine feminine would probably recognize, if I wagered a guess intuitively, that instead of believing that one side is right and one side is wrong, there is the need to come together, two oppositions that come into the center, the blending, the violet flame at the center. And so instead of one side laughing and making the other side seem a certain way, we can fill in the blank, and then the other side utilizing their divine sacred voice and vibration to join in that enjoyment of tearing each other down. That's obviously not synergy. It's obviously not going to gain any ground. There are elements even in the side that I cannot fathom how individuals followed or fell victim to this. And then I'm looking at some of the things that these people are into, and I'm okay, so some of them are very far-fetched, but I have looked into those things, and they do hold just a little bit of water, literally, right? The bucket of water. But at the end of the day, what does that truth justify? Does it justify killing? Does it? I mean, I just said the word. It does not. And so nobody wants war. Nobody wants anybody to become injured, right? And so, yeah, like I feel like I'm stating the obvious here and going on a tangent. So there's some words that people probably are are looking back at and understanding something. But I think that instead of laughing away our opponents or our reflections awareness, like maybe even like you've been giving somebody the benefit of the doubt, but their behavior gives you the awareness of something else. Instead of being at war with that, we can call it out, right? We can ask them questions like, I hear you saying, however, I just wanted to say that this gives me this feeling and impression, and I wanted to let you know, how that impacts me. And then see if there's middle ground, you know, whether it's politics or neighbors and fence lines, there's always there's always more to the story, I think, is what I'm hearing. So, yeah, I'll probably do one more reading today. I hope that you guys liked this one. Let's get just a few more here. What can you help us to understand with this full moon? There we go. So we've got vulnerability, exactly. We have to allow ourselves to be a little less aggressive and soften our opinions and our knowingness, and to let the mystery come forward here. Two more want to come out as one here. We have awakened awareness, number 17, being able to see through the illusion, the veil, the eggshell around. There's this crystalline upgrade, and being able to think beyond the cognitive dissonance of over amplification of the mind and the overactive mind space and the over knowing. We need to move beyond our logic and use our awareness, such as, you know, if you believe that deregulation is going to help you to be treated more fairly, I wonder why you think that. 37, Mount Shasta. There's a lot of awakened and aware minds, awakened aware, coming in and putting their energies forth to help break through this consciousness. Fire, reawakening the consciousness within us to move us into the next leg of this journey. There's some powerful light workers and shamans and such among you. We again have the portal keepers. So yeah, you guys are poised here to really have a mind-blowing shift coming in the next 24 hours and so forth of this reading, but specifically with this Uranian conjunction with the full moon here within the next few hours of me reading for you today, and it'll be uploaded closer to the event. Radical expansion is under the deck yet again. So this is a spontaneous, crucial shift and breakthrough energy where we are all about to see the man behind the curtain, and we just need to stay tuned and stay grounded and in our love essence here, and all is about to be revealed in the coming phase. So I hope that that helped. Trust that you're protected, stay blessed up and prayed up, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Thanks, guys.